Wow, it now appears that Donald Trump has announced fake ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Yep, he said, it is over. But the missiles apparently didn't get the memo, because while Trump was posting peace signs on Truth Social, strikes were still happening across Tehran and inside Iraq. Multiple Iraqi military bases are being hit, and the early signs, they point to Iranian-backed militias. Now here's the part that's hard to believe, but somehow not surprising anymore. Trump posted this on Truth Social and said, "Peace for all. This is great." He then called up NBC and claimed this ceasefire would be enduring and that it would last forever. Last forever? That's a bold promise, especially for something that apparently never happened in the first place. Because here's what Iran's state-run media, Fars News, yes, the media arm of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, is reporting. Islamic Republic of Iran state media, Fars News. The ceasefire proposal put forward by US President Donald Trump is completely false. No official or unofficial ceasefire proposal has been received from Iran. In response to this media fabrication, the Islamic Republic of Iran will within a few hours demonstrate the falsehood of this claim to the Zionist regime through direct and on-the-ground action. That's not just a denial, that's a threat of immediate retaliation. Then the New York Times followed up with a headline, "No word from Israel or Iran yet." We also had a statement from Iranian officials to France 24 saying it is now 3:30 a.m. in Israel, with Iranian officials reportedly telling France 24 earlier that if Israeli strikes continue after 3:30 Tel Aviv time, Iran would consider the ceasefire voided. But here's the confusing part, because again, Fars just made it clear there were no discussions at all. Reports of a one-way drone attack now against a third military site in Iraq with the Balad Air Base to the north of Baghdad claimed to have been targeted following drone strikes on both Camp Taji and the Camp Victory complex, while Israeli Air Force continues to carry out strikes across Tehran and western Iran. Take a look at the radar right here, completely destroyed by what officials are calling an unknown one-way drone. Totally a mystery, right? Never mind that it just happens to be from militias backed by Iran. You can see here, Camp Taji up in flames. And now we're getting footage from Tehran where it appears a targeted assassination strike may have just taken place. Watch this. At the same time, Netanyahu is instructing his cabinet not to comment on any proposed ceasefire. And there's Taco right there. Trump, however, is still pushing the story. Israel is now bracing for the possibility that Iran might launch a wave of missiles, supposedly before the ceasefire takes effect. The only problem? Iran says there's no ceasefire at all. And just 60 minutes ago, Donald Trump went ahead and posted his own version of events, which, let's just say, doesn't quite match reality. He posted this. Congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed upon bind between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in progress final missions for 12 hours. At which point the war will be considered ended. Point officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world during each ceasefire. The other side will remain peaceful and respectful on the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will. I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroy the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel. God bless Iran. God bless the Middle East. God bless the United States of America, and then he puts this in caps. God bless the world. And again, Fars repeats, the ceasefire proposal put forward by US President Donald Trump is completely false. So right now, Trump's writing a victory speech while Iran's writing missile coordinates. As Trump congratulated the world on peace, the world kept proving otherwise. And then another post from Donald Trump. I'd like to thank the highly respected Emir of Qatar for all that he has done in seeking peace for the region. Regarding the attack today at the American base in Qatar, I am pleased to report that in addition to no Americans being killed or wounded, very importantly, there have been no Qataris killed or wounded. Thank you very much for your attention to this matter. So at this point, no one really knows what's actually happening, except that it's still happening. Here's what Senator J.D. Vance just said a few moments ago.
Would you be surprised if Iran is sending out signals that it doesn't have a specific ceasefire plan? How would the communication have been with the Iranians to get this level of confidence to put out that detailed statement?
Well, one of the things I've learned, Brett, about the Iranians in the past, 4 or 5 months that I've been in this job is what they say publicly and privately can sometimes be very different. I think what the Iranians have shown very clearly is they don't want this war to go on for much longer. Their air defenses have been totally destroyed. Their conventional missile program has been largely destroyed. And of course, their nuclear program has been obliterated, as I said before. So I think the Iranians are at a place where they don't want to keep on fighting. You saw the president, and I don't have the truth in front of me, but he talked about the next 6 hours, right, finalizing the attacks. I mean, I think what he's talking about is right now, for the American people watching, it's dark over there. That's typically when the Israelis and the Iranians have been shooting at each other. I think there's some recognition that that might continue for another few hours. And tomorrow really is a new day. The end of the 12-day war, the end of the Iranian nuclear program. And I really do believe the beginning of something very big for peace in the Middle East.
So
you now have as well Iranian's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi publicly denying that Iran has agreed to a ceasefire or cessation of military operations with Israel, but states that if Israel halts further strikes against Iran no later than 4 a.m., then Iran will not retaliate militarily any further. It's currently 4:24 a.m. in Tehran, as Iran has repeatedly made clear Israel launched a war in Iran, not the other way around. As of now, there is no agreement on any ceasefire or cessation of military operations, however, provided that the Israeli regime stops its illegal aggression against the Iranian people. No later than 4 a.m., we have no intention to continue our response afterwards. The final decision on the cessation of our military operations will be made later. And if you're trying to make sense of this mess, this next clip helps. Here it is.
you said totally obliterated. The president has said totally obliterated the Iran nuclear program.
Yeah.
Do you know for sure where all the highly enriched uranium is?
Well, Brett, I think that's actually not the question before us. The question before us is, can Iran enrich the uranium to a weapons grade level? And can they convert that fuel to a nuclear weapon? And we know, based on the success of our mission, of course, the leadership of the president, but the incredible skill of our military, that the two mission objectives are completely successful. We know that they cannot build a nuclear weapon. Now, you asked about the highly enriched uranium.
Yeah, like 900 pounds of it.
But what we know, Brett, is that uranium is something that exists in very large supply. Our goal was to bury the uranium, and I do think the uranium is buried, but our goal was to eliminate the enrichment and eliminate their ability to convert that enriched fuel into a nuclear weapon. I think this is an important point, Brett, because so many of the folks who have focused on the highly enriched uranium,
sure, 60%.
The main focus, Brett, has been to destroy their enrichment capacity, because we don't want that 60% uranium to become 90% uranium. That's the real concern, and that's what was so successful about our mission.
We will keep you updated with all the up-to-date information. Of course, hit subscribe. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers. Again, subscribe to stay updated. This story's just getting started.